Washington near the Canadian border driving the brand new 2018 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 1LE. Before I can tell you what the 1LE version is like, let me refresh your memory about the ZL1. The 1LE moniker is Camaro's shorthand for tracked up versions that can stop and turn better, though there's no increase in power. Currently, Chevy will sell you a V6 1LE, a V8 powered SS 1LE, and now this, the rip-snorting 650 horsepower ZL1 1LE. How do you tell if the Camaro you're looking at is part of the 1LE family? The telltale sign is a blacked out hood. Other than that, the body's the same grille opening, but the grille itself is more aggressive. In fact, it flows more air. Why do you want more air? Well, more cooling, more aero, whatever you want to do with clean air, you got it. They also removed the DRLs, the daytime running lights, which saves 7 pounds. In fact, this car is 60 pounds lighter than a regular ZL1. But by removing those DLRs, the openings are bigger, so you can now flow more air into the intercooler, into the brake ducts, whatever you want to do with it. Speaking of airflow, up front, you've got that giant splitter flanked by those insane canards or dive planes. In fact, they're so aggressive, you can't sell this car in Europe because it'll fail pedestrian safety standards. How cool is that? I mean, that's reason enough to buy the car right there. Moving to the back, you have that giant rear wing, which was co-developed by Pratt & Miller, and that's Chevy's race partner for Le Mans. At 150 miles per hour, this thing creates 300 pounds of downforce. You might be thinking, when will we ever need that? Well, if you watch the Nürburgring lap video, you'll see that the ZL1 1LE goes over 155 miles per hour 4 times and over 165 miles an hour 3 different times. So there's that. Also, don't forget, this freak is a 650 horsepower force of nature. 150 miles an hour will happen. Number one rule of business is know thy customer, and Chevy knows that track rats like nothing more than adjustability. Even if the cars don't need it, they love to tinker and adjust their cars. So there's 3 places you can adjust the 1LE. You can raise and lower the ride height by 10 millimeters, although I would suggest against lowering the ride height 10 millimeters if you're on the street, track only. But if you want to break your splitter off, hey, it's a free country. Do what you like. Out back, the stabilizer bar has 3 positions: neutral, understeer, oversteer. Why would you want understeer? I'll tell you something. High-speed stability is increased by more understeer, so sometimes you want it. But hey, if you're a real tough guy, put it in oversteer mode. Plus, also, every track is different. You do want to set a car up based on the track it's on. The final and coolest part of the 1LE's adjustability is camber, and lots of it. Normally, the car has negative 1.7 degrees of front camber. However, if you jack it up, remove 3 bolts from the blue anodized aluminum camber plates, and rotate them half a turn, you suddenly have up to 3.7 degrees of negative camber. Though Chevy thinks negative 2.7 is best. But hey, do what you like. Now, it's true, 3.7 degrees is hell on your tires, but again, man, it's your car. Destroy them. Speaking of tires, the ZL1 1LE rides on the new Goodyear Eagle F1 Supercar R3, and it's the first race compound street tire that Goodyear's ever sold. Their target, of course, was the Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2, and from where I'm sitting, they basically got there. The most significant difference between this car and the regular ZL1, if you can call that monster regular, are the shocks. They're made by a little company in Canada called Multimatic. They're referred to as DSSVs, or spool valve dampers. And you will find them on F1 cars, the Aston Martin 177, the new Ford GT, and this here Camaro. And it is exotic, advanced race car technology. The big advantage with spool valves is this: the same damper at low speeds can do a completely different compression and rebound profile than at high speed. So You can actually tune the damper to make sure that the wheels are in contact with the ground as much as possible, no matter the speed. They are non-adjustable in the traditional sense, so you do give up a little bit of ride quality. But again, this is a track car. You want to give that up so you can get more control. I was being too kind. Over rough surfaces, the ZL1 1LE's ride sucks, especially when the rear dampers run out of travel. Stay away from potholes. And then Chevy took those awesome dampers and hard mounted them to the body. There's no rubber in this suspension. There's no bushings. It's just metal on metal. And it's severe and it's abnormal. And it really makes this thing an uncaged race car. And that's totally cool with me. This car is so analog. It's just a machine that you drive. You're doing everything. And like when you get it right, I mean, just yeah! Yeah! It's just awesome. Oh, what a machine. What a beast. It's way too much for this road. I've got to find a race track. You can tell that we must be really close to Canada and that the people are really friendly because this whole area is infested with hitchhikers. There's one right there. Bo Bandy? Randy?
Johnny?
What are you doing here?
Well, I was on my way up to this great new racetrack in Canada, just over the border. It's called Area 27. I got in a little hot water and now I'm walking.
Well, what a coincidence, because as both fate and our script would have it, I'm in search of a racetrack.
Well, can I ride with you?
Yeah.
Can I drive?
You always say that.
Thanks, Johnny.
Yeah.
This is my lucky day.
Yeah. Tracking the ZL1, the regular car, if you can use the word regular to describe that thing.
Yes.
How does this one differ from the regular ZL1?
It's got more race car in it. It's a lot firmer suspension.
So you notice that the Multimatic DSSV, or as they're called, spool valve shocks, they make a big difference compared to the magnetic dampers on the ZL1.
Yes, they do. They're very firm. The car is completely controlled. No sense of body roll, squat, dive. Everything is so controlled.
What do you make of these tires? Because these are the tires that Goodyear developed to compete with the legendary Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2s.
Well, I think the grip is very good, Johnny. It's a tire that feels kind of safe, right?
So what are you feeling is a dominant characteristic? Understeer, oversteer, neutral?
The car seems to be extremely well balanced to me. It's stable, so it's got enough understeer to be stable, but not enough to be annoying or frustrating. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a lot of power to put down, Johnny, and it's a sign that the Goodyears are working. Look. That's second gear, flat out, 650 pound-feet of torque.
Yeah.
And it just bites.
Yeah, it really does.
It just bites.
Yeah, so the car gets serious all of a sudden. What do you make of the brakes on this car?
You know what? The car stops really well. Mm-hmm. I'm not feeling fade.
Yeah.
The tire grip is amazing in braking. I'll bet we've got a really short stopping distance.
Okay, so tell me about the aero.
We do know that we've got 300 pounds of downforce at 150 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So to honestly say that we're feeling downforce, we're going to be going well over 100.
Right. So we need to be at the Nürburgring to really take full advantage of what this car's capable
Oh, it'll
of.
be a good setup for the Nürburgring.
Even though we're not at the Nürburgring, maybe it's time for you to set a hot lap in this car.
Yes, please.
Okay, but not here. How about at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca?
Oh, yeah, I know the line there.
Before we leave Canada, I should mention that Randy was able to beat the Camaro engineer who set the Nürburgring lap on Area 27 by 1/10 of a second after only half a day on the track. As for knowing his way around Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, well, Randy has set and broken the production car lap record there close to 20 times. Here he goes. To put 1 minute 34.30 seconds in perspective for you, the lap record for a production car back in 2012 was 134.43, set by a Corvette Z06. An Audi R8 V10 Plus is 0.07 of a second quicker. Hundredths! Last year's Best Driver Car winner, the mid-engine carbon-tubbed McLaren 570S, ran a 134.58. Remember the 5th-gen Camaro Z28, the super track-focused freak with one speaker and no air conditioning? It could only muster a 137.82 and costs about $4,000 more than the ZL1 1LE. What Chief Engineer Al Oppenheiser and his team have achieved with this fiend is remarkable. Again, a Camaro, any Camaro, is quicker around Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca than a McLaren, any McLaren? Do you believe it? I don't even know if I believe it, and I was there. The ZL1 is an ear-shattering full stack of a car to begin with. The 1LE version grabs the knob and cranks it past 11. Here's the thing. New episodes of Ignition, they're live at Motor Trend On Demand about a month before they're live on YouTube, meaning that there's a brand new episode of Ignition live right now, but only at Motor Trend On Demand. Let's talk about why the GT4 is so special.
It's finally the Cayman that people have been asking for.
I think in some ways it sounds better than the 911.
The Porsche DNA works all the way up the scale.
The Cayman's never had a fat, delicious torque curve like this car does. On track, it feels right.
Watch the latest episode of Ignition right now at MotorTrendOnDemand.com. The only lame part of the new Camaro ZL1 1LE is this X sticker. And really, it's just stupid. The good news is, it peels right off.